The process of moving into new homes was put on hold, of course, because of coronavirus. But now, slowly but surely, developers are getting back up and running. And Sean, this morning, has the hard hat on for the first time in a while. Good morning, Mr. High Vis. How are you?
Morning. Yeah, I'm great. This is back where we belong, isn't it? It feels a bit more normal, finally, after a couple of months having the hard hat and high vis back on. But it's not normal on these sites. We've got those signs on these construction sites around the country that we're familiar with, but here in central Manchester, they've got these one-way signs up all around the building. So you go in there, there's only one way out. You can't just be coming and going the way we were before. Been big few weeks for the construction industry right across the UK. In England and Wales, it's never actually been told to close by the government, but of course companies had their concerns about safety on site. In Scotland still is essential work only, but we had those guidelines last week, didn't we, from the government, and that has enabled some businesses to start to ramp up a little bit what they're doing to get the work going on site, which over the course of the day they will start to have more work tradespeople on site here at Capital&Centric, who are running this development. 120 flats they're looking to build. That's been slowed right down at the moment, so those people who want to move into those flats, we've talked about that over the last couple of weeks. The housing market slowing up, the building of it has as well. And I've got the founder, the owner, the boss of the developer here at Capital&Centric, Adam Higgins, is with me. Morning to you, Adam.
Hi.
We've got the mic in shot. We're keeping our distance. It's good on a construction site, actually. Plenty of things in place to keep us apart. This is not going to be what you're used to seeing, is it, on this site over recent years?
Normally on a Monday morning, about now, there'd be about 100 people turning up for site here. So you'd start to get the noise and the vehicles moving around and the jackhammers going and things like that, and a lot of noise and activity going on here. But of course, this morning it feels a bit more like a cemetery, really.
So you've got things like staggered arrival times, and we'll see that over the course of the morning. So not everybody piling in at once. I've had my temperature check done this morning with a little temperature thermometer pointed at my head. All okay there. What will this be like at midday? Do you expect this all of a sudden to be full blast for you to crack on as you were?
It won't be full blast because we're only operating at about 20 to 25% capacity at the moment. So if we normally have 100 people, we're only really going to have about maybe 25 people or so on site here today, obviously within quite a large building as well. So the whole place will just feel a lot quieter, but obviously the good thing is we are still going, so there is still progress being made.
So I mentioned you've got the one-way system in place, which you wouldn't have had before. We've got Lincoln up here who's somehow managed to get... Morning to you, Lincoln. Morning. Who's managed to get up there on the one-way system. So that obviously limits the way workers, you know, they'd be back and forth busily all the time. What other things have you had to say to workers they have to do every single day, which maybe slows things down but makes it safe?
It's the sort of basics. It's things like hand washing and things like that, but it's the social distancing, because obviously construction still, even in this day and age, is still quite a hands-on sort of business with moving materials around back and forth. So
I was going to say, you've got a big board there behind you, for example. I mean, are there certain things that you're just not doing? I mean, you're supposed to be building flats here.
Yeah, so some jobs are fine, but other jobs like moving plasterboard around, because it's heavy, tends to need two people. So that's quite difficult at the moment because it can't really be done mechanically. Things like the steel work is fine because that's often lifted by mechanical instruments anyway. So that things like that have been able to carry on sort of fairly, or not too interrupted. But it's things like hanging doors. Normally trying to have two people hanging a door, but of course then people are within the 2 meters, so that's proven to be a lot more problematic. So it is slowing us down.
Adam, thank you very much for having us on site this morning. There's been lots of prep put in place so that, you know, we can keep our distances while we're doing it. And we'll have a little look a little later at what's going on in some of these apartments, poke our heads through the door frames where those doors can't be hung up a little bit longer, because this is what has slowed the economy down so much, and is why people think it will continue to not be quite at 100% for quite a while yet, because so many businesses are taking those steps to try and get back to where they were many months ago.
The process of moving into new homes was put on hold, of course, because of coronavirus. Now, slowly but surely, developers are getting back up and running. Sean is at a building site in Manchester. He's out and about. Good morning.
Morning. Yeah, I am out about, a hard hat on, and a load of materials that... This is a picture that will have been seen right across the country in the last couple of months. Materials not being used, those new houses, new apartments not being developed. The construction sector fallen off a cliff, hasn't it? But the industry's trying to get back to somewhere near where it was before. In England and Wales, it's never been closed completely, but we're starting to see more builders this week starting to put more in to try and get people on site safely. But it's not all straightforward. And this door frame is a classic example of the type of apartments they're trying to build. But you can't hang a door unless you've got two people. So therefore, if you're going to breach those 2-metre social distancing rules, which are all pretty obvious around here, actually, I just need to get you a sign. That there's plenty of these one-way signs scattered all around the place here so that people can see where to go. If you're going to breach it, you need full PPE, and that's not so easy doing heavy lifting while you do that. So there are other things that they're having to put in place where we're starting to see people come on site again this morning at the entrance. Ordinarily, there might be a fingerprint for people to be able to log in. That's scrapped now. People are manually signing in, so there's fewer points of contact. Hand sanitizers, and then the people in charge having to rethink how they go about their whole day's work. We've got Adam Higgins, who's been with us all morning, who is in charge of the site here. Morning to you, Adam.
Hi.
So Adam, I mean, you know, we're starting to see people coming in now and getting to work. You've got 120 flats that you're trying to build here. How far behind schedule are you now? How much lower capacity have you got to get what you need to get done?
Well, we're only operating about sort of 20-25%, so we don't really know how much longer it's going to take to finish it, because this has never been done before. You know, not in any of our histories of building sites have to stop because we're worried about contamination. So there's undoubtedly a delay on it, but it you know, could be 5 months, 6 months, who knows. But
we've seen people keeping their distance doing their work here. But for things where you have to breach that 2-metre guideline that we've talked about so often, and the government said that's allowed, but you need things in place. What are you going to have in place to enable you to get your plastering done, to get the doors hanging?
Well, contractors are looking at all different method statements and new method statements that, again, have never been done before. But it's going to be things like some of the contractors wearing respirators and full masks and goggles and gloves and all the rest of it, so that they can operate within 2 metres but safely in the future. Because some jobs on a building site just have to, they're just two-man jobs, there's no way around it.
And so, some people have actually already got their names down on some of these flats, have they? They would be expecting to sort of move in at some point. Are you seeing, we've talked about the housing market reopening in the last week or so. Are you seeing people being put off, maybe not feeling so confident about their finances, chomping at the bit?
Well, even though the building is delayed, the sort of interesting thing is the actual sales don't seem to be slowing down at all. So since lockdown began sort of 8-9 weeks ago, we've actually sold about £3 million worth of apartments within Crusader Mill itself. So the sales still seem to be very, very healthy. And I think because we've got a very unique product here, but I think there still is quite a lot of confidence as well around. So hopefully that'll continue.
Well, thanks for having us this morning, Adam. Yeah, it's been very interesting right from the off. You know, a new world for everybody, having your temperature checked as you walked in. One of the things that you might be used to taking your child's temperature with pointed at your head to see if you're okay. And we were all good this morning, keeping your distance on site. You can tell it's not easy. They're at 25% production now. They reckon they could maybe get up to 80% with the stuff in place the guidelines in place that we know are needed. But that still leaves people a bit of a way off where we were before.
Sean, it is. Thank you very much.